This is Total Babble. Total Babble. The Total Babble Podcast, a weekly podcast about music, pop culture, social media, movies, the internet, relationships, TV, whatever. The Total Babble Podcast.
God, I wish I could just breathe normal.
You should take the mask off. That gimp mask that you're wearing around Stu is probably impeding your breathing. Just undo the zip.
Yeah, I swear to God, when I wake up in the morning and look in the mirror, I'm a totally different person, and I am scary looking. Like, holy Christ, who is this thing?
I've definitely had that the last couple of weeks. As you know, I was frightfully ill, and my kidneys weren't functioning properly. And if you've ever had any sort of bad kidney function before, what happens is underneath your eyes gets really, really swollen.
Oh.
Really swollen. And so I would wake up in the morning and look like that fish monster from those old movies. You know, the one that has like these big rolls underneath their eyes.
Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yes, the creature from the Black Lagoon. That was me for the last week or so. I looked like I'd been punched in the face and then had these little creature from the Black Lagoon eye fat rolls.
But see, you're lucky as a woman, at least you can wear makeup. I'm a guy, I'm not allowed to wear makeup. Well, I am more so nowadays, but not much really, you know.
True. I say embrace it. I don't know if lipstick's going to fix the eyes, though. I mean, just my 2 cents.
Oh, it would fix it. I would just have a whole other vibe going. We'd have that for sure. Look at me!
Look at me.
Yeah.
I love it.
So you, I know, have had a busy work week and you had health problems last week, and I guess now you have a dental infection, and from what you told me, you have rotting flesh in your head, and now you're turning into a zombie. Is that accurate?
I mean, it's pretty close. I was saying to my cousin yesterday, it never rains, it pours. And at this point in time, I'm too afraid to go outside in case of a stiff breeze that would either blow me over or have me disintegrate like something out of a time-traveling movie. I am falling apart, and I don't know if it's because I'm just old as fuck or if something else is at play. But I've had a rough couple of weeks, and I'm looking forward to it.
I think it's probably you're pushing yourself too hard, and you're not old, but you're starting to get old, and that's how I feel. Like, to me, life now is waking up in the morning and going, oh, that hurts now, and I don't know why. But I'll just accept it and move on, and then a little bit later on in the day, it's not going to be so bad. That's the way that works.
You know, I remember a time, and I'm sure you do too, because you were a bit of a long-haired head banger back in the days, and I remember going to metal concerts and like moshing and head banging and doing all this sort of stuff. And you'd wake up with a bit of a sore neck sometimes, but you'd get your gig fitness up. So after a while, it wouldn't hurt. Now I can throw my back out sleeping wrong.
Yeah. What happened to you? Oh, I'm sorry. I got out of bed this morning and it hurt.
Yeah, exactly. I twinged my back trying to put on a shoe.
It's absolutely true, and I hate it. And then I think, yeah, you're absolutely right. I was banging some head back in the day, and I think maybe when they told me not to do that because I was going to hurt myself, maybe I really hurt myself, and that is the cause of my injuries nowadays. I think maybe they were right, like it has happened with my ears, you know?
That's a good point. I didn't even think about that.
All right. So obviously we've started the show. Sometimes it just happens, and that's where we've gone today. I want to play this because this is great, and it just is very kind of out of context, but you sent this to me, and it's great, and I can't really say much about it other than this is a video of two neighbors arguing, and while you hear the audio of them arguing, there's a cat that is kind of lounging on the top of an SUV, just kind of mellow and hanging out, and here is the argument with these two neighbors.
I just want to be clear. You're upset because we made friends with your cat?
You're unreasonable people. You're holding our cat. Go in your yard and say, Mercury, go home. Don't come in our yard anymore.
She will not listen. She's a cat. She doesn't speak English. She's a cat, dude.
Really? Okay. All right. Well, we'll have the police department figure it out.
Absolutely. Great idea.
Cat pervert.
I've done nothing to bring the cat. I've done nothing to bring the
Cat pervert.
Cat
What in
pervert.
the shit? What is happening there? Is there any other context that can be given to this? Do you know any of the background of this? I just watched the video that you sent me and I was like, wow, of all the crazy people to argue with.
Is there any context that accompanies this video relevant to it? Absolutely zero. But I think it's part of the collective consciousness that cats are relatively aloof and they'll do whatever they damn please. And so the suggestion of this cat dad that in some way Mercury, the English-speaking cat, is going to follow instructions when told to leave my yard is mind-boggling to me. By the way, the car that the cat is sitting on belongs to the neighbor who's saying, I'm not doing anything to attract your cat. And the cat is just stationary on top of this person's car. And the cat's refusal and reluctance to leave the vehicle has him being branded a cat pervert. And in many ways, I feel like this is, blaming the other woman when she doesn't even know that the guy is married. She,
Right.
it's so
Right.
weird. It's so weird. But these people have obviously got bigger problems than their cat.
Like there's so many layers to this in that, okay, the person that's screaming cat pervert is of the mindset that somebody can actually reason with his cat and tell the cat and attract the cat to come over to their yard. He has the understanding and the thought in his head that that works, which you totally can't do with any pet, but you really can't do with a cat. Maybe you could do it a little bit with a dog because dogs are smarter and better, but cats just do whatever the F they want. And the fact that this guy thinks that really says a lot. And then how does he think that makes somebody a cat pervert?
I have no idea, but I feel like he is probably one beer short of a six-pack, because if you really don't want your cat to leave your yard, lock the fucking thing inside the house, you numpty.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to solve the problem, solve the problem.
And then the other possibility here is that the cat really can communicate with this crazy person, and the cat is really talking to him. I think the cat might be a manipulator and is planning all this, talking to this guy, and maybe that is what is going on. I don't know if it's demonic possession, but perhaps the cat can talk. That's the only other logical explanation.
I mean, it's the only other logical explanation. And taking that a step further, I really feel like the only way to solve this is chalk circle style. We take it into the courtroom, we get both of them, we put a chalk circle around. Whoever can pull the cat out of the circle, someone takes the front end, someone takes the back end, sort it out once and for all.
There you go. And then the cat will just look at them both and go to the judge. He'll just go sit up on the judge's bench.
Exactly, because that guy is a cat pervert.
Right. And perhaps, well, all judges are cat perverts, as we know. It's what they have under the robe. But perhaps the cat is going to the other guy that is being called the cat pervert because the other guy is so loony. As aloof as cats are, maybe the cat picks up on the loony and says, I'm going over here. I'm getting away from this guy. That could be too,
That could be too. I mean, who gets jealous of the attention that a cat gives to another person? This thing has so many layers. And then why has it gotten pervy? I've got questions for Mercury's owner. One, why is your cat so sexy?
Right. Why do you have a special weirdness and fondness for your cat if you're labeling the other guy cat pervert?
Exactly. You're the one that dressed the cat up in the lingerie.
There you go. Sitting there all sexy, putting its pictures up on the internet.
Putting out the vibe on the street on top of someone's car. Meow. What a freak. Anyway, I laughed so hard. I don't know what it was about that, but I sometimes send you weird shit literally in the middle of the night
Yeah.
because I'm up giggling about it when I should be asleep. And with no context or no notes. Either.
Well, and the greatness of it is that it's just so nonsensical, but it's real and it's sincere, you know?
Yeah.
Is that from, what is that from? The Talk Tick, or what is that?
Yeah, something like that.
Tick, all right.
It's a reel that appeared on Facebook.
Okay, so like
via
if somebody
TikTok.
wanted to find it, probably Googling cat pervert, would that work?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Good stuff. Also on the internet, I found that YouTube channel we like called I Ruined It, where the guy does really interesting stuff with production and that sort of thing. He did this video that I will play for you. It's called What Pearl Jam Sounds Like to People That Don't Like Pearl Jam. And I think this is fun and accurate and very true.
See a little gonna make me down my face looking through the paper, throwing out of something that has never showed him any concrete.
What?
Feeling. Maybe he'll see a little out of something so that's never understands the weather of a feeling through the train of a better Saturdays.
Really is true. I don't love Pearl Jam. I don't dislike Pearl Jam, but I feel like I have never understood one of their lyrics, really. There was something about Jeremy at one time, and that's really all I got from it, you know?
That is such a great clip. And I'm one of these people who can't help but visualize what's happening. So while that song's playing, I have this face appearing in my mind that is pulling some extraordinary faces with all of the little grunts and everything. And so in my head, that is very, very funny.
Yeah, good stuff. He did one for the Chili Peppers, too. You can find that online. It's, what's the guy's account? There, I Ruined It on YouTube. If we get to both of these today, I have a couple topics that are gotcha, yeah, but questions. These are things that would seem obvious, and I'll give you the first one here. The first general question is it bad when a person gets attacked by a dog?
You know what I'm going to say. I think it depends.
Okay.
I can think of plenty
you'd
of...
say yes to, absolutely. Always, under any circumstances.
No, not under any circumstances. I mean, we deliberately train dogs for personal protection and law enforcement and that kind of thing. And so is it bad? I think it always results in something bad. Yeah. I could join you there. But I could also justify a dog attacking someone. For example, you come into my house uninvited in the middle of the night, my dog will attack you. And I'm okay with that.
You know, you really thought about it, and I should have phrased it different. Is it bad when an owner gets attacked by a dog? Probably still you can think about it.
I don't know. I think for that one, I'd be like, yeah, that's bad. Yeah. Are they alive or are they dead? We talked about this last night, and we came to the conclusion that if I died at the dinner table, one of my dogs would push my body out of the way to get to my food and then still eat me.
Yeah, all of your animals would eat you, that's for sure. That's always the case. And some people don't want to admit that.
Yeah.
So here's this story, and the answer, I believe, is that it's usually bad when a person is attacked by a dog. This news story, a Michigan woman was mauled by her pet Rottweiler earlier this month after an hour-long struggle that left her house covered in blood. This was after she got the dog high. The woman told authorities that her 2-year-old Rottweiler pounced on her almost immediately after she gave him THC-laced gummies. He followed her into the bathroom and pulled her off the toilet. The 82-pound dog fought the woman for an hour inside her Gaylord, Michigan house before she was able to lock herself in her bedroom while the dog had run of the house. She called 911 to report the dog attack, but the dog named Blau was subdued, not barking or growling when EMS and animal control arrived. That kind of says something. The woman was airlifted to a medical center 60 miles away where she underwent emergency surgery, was intubated, and placed in an intensive care unit. This is one of those situations where I think you effing idiot. I'm kind of rooting for the dog in this. As somebody that has taken the weed and had bad paranoid experiences on it, and I'm a human being, what do you think that does to an animal? You kind of deserve it, is how I think.
Yeah, I'll file this one around under the folder fuck around and find out. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. That it just seems silly to do that. Although I will say that there's a lot of marketing out there now for THC products for dogs. I go into Hollywood Feed, which is my local sort of pet care place, and they have it promoted everywhere like it's automatically going to be a good thing. But it sounds like this woman gave human gummies to a dog.
You don't do that. It's not good. It's back like when I was a boy, they would be like, oh, I got my dog high. And they would say, oh, that's not good to do. Just even blowing smoke in the dog's face is not good.
Yeah, no.
But the gummies are concentrated and meant for humans, and you're an asshole. It's like you don't give them grapes. You don't give them chocolate. You don't give them human THC gummies, asshole.
Yeah, 100% agree. That dog should be taken away from that woman and given to somebody who cares. I love Rottweilers. Let me just say that too. Love them, love them, love them. Great dogs.
Well, hate to put a damper on the story, but the dog doesn't need to be given away.
Oh, he got put down.
The woman and her estranged husband ultimately agreed for Blau to be euthanized by a vet. She and her parents visited the shelter 11 days after the attack to say their goodbyes to Blau before he was humanely put down. So sorry to be the damper on the story, but then also I have this for you.
I want somebody to use his fucking brain to not come out of a goddamn record that is that's up tempo, and I got to talk about a fucking dog dying.
If you remember that from my favorite moments in broadcast history and previous shows, Casey Kasem, I saw the opportunity for that there.
That's perfect. I gotta talk about a fucking dog dying.
Dog dedication. So, yeah, I always root for the animals in that. Like, you screwed with it. It reacted badly. Maybe you're a bad owner to begin with. Maybe you're like a cat pervert, that kind of thing. You got that going on. And also, it goes to the animals in the wild that we kill. The mountain lions that are in the mountains, and people go hiking in the the mountains, and they get attacked, and then they kill the mountain lion. It's not the mountain lion's fault. It's trying to eat. It knows what it knows, and it's going to attack you. That's what happens. We shouldn't be killing the animals. I say, I'm not even like a bleeding heart animal lover. I just see it for what it is and think that's fair. We're in their area, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I could make a case for killing a few dogs. I mean, this is going to sound bad. Animal rights activists, come for me. But I think that if you've got a dog, for example, that is hyper aggressive and can't be trusted around people, unless you can find work for that dog, like unsupervised work on a farm or something like that, it can't be a domesticated pet.
Like making pizzas, that kind of thing, pizza maker.
Yeah, I mean, just one of many possible jobs, Stu. A cleaner, a doctor. I mean, the choices are limitless. But if we can't find pizza doctor dog jobs for these guys, then...
Podcast host. That is the new... revolutionary. Podcasts for dogs. Let's get into some of that. They've done everything else. We have podcasts for car wash owners. Let's have podcasts for dogs.
They can go to the moon. They can protect your house. Now they can podcast. Dogcast.
I bet if we put that out, people would listen to it.
I bet they would too. Don't give too much away. Coming out next week. Dogcast.
Yeah. Sorry, I interrupted your valid point there that sometimes, if you can't control a dog, it needs to be put down.
Then you have to put it down. Sometimes they've got deep issues that can't be solved, and it's too dangerous to have them. I don't think that we need to be keeping every animal alive. This is going to sound really bad too, but I'm going to say it again. This is just one woman's opinion. A lot of times, animals that are really messed up or really sick that have been abandoned or they don't have a home or something, they'll go to an animal shelter and then they'll spend thousands of dollars on fixing up something like an animal that then ends up with only 2 legs and needs a wheelchair and then adopt it out. Why not just thump it on the head? I mean, why put it through that? Why? I feel, again, if it was a human, I wouldn't be saying that. But to all of the people out there who are like, my dog is my baby. It's not a fucking baby.
Right.
It's a dog.
I hate the term fur baby so much. Oh my God, it just makes me cringe.
We have a whole episode on that, and even that we didn't spend enough time talking about how bad that is. It's not okay.
Yeah.
But again, what do you think? Do you agree? Do I sound like a psychopath? Do you think that we should we be investing in these mongrel stray wheelchair dogs?
I love the term, why not just thump it on the head? That was fantastic and wonderful. It's like the time that you told me that your dog might be trying to commit suicide by falling down the stairs. But also you have a point. It's just the way you verbalized it was fun. And I agree with you, but then I also think, okay, do we really need to kill them? Couldn't we have like bad animal farm? Couldn't we have like a couple farms here and there where they keep the bad animals and rather than kill them, we just let them live out their lives? You know, could that be done?
I think if someone's willing to pay for it, yeah, I think that's great. I love that. I don't know what in California, but our shelters are always heaving and overflowing with great animals that don't have special needs. And even then, most of them get put down because no one's willing to make the investment. And I'm not a scientist, but if somebody can't afford to have just a regular old dog, what makes us think that by offering special needs wheelchair dog that has to wear diapers and it be in a wheelchair, that in some way that is a more appealing prospect? I mean, maybe it is. Maybe there's a niche group of people who only like decrepit special needs dogs, and that's their service area and their love area, which in that case, love that for them. But surely there's not as many of those as there are dogs that we have really unnecessarily extended the life of.
Right. 2 points. You paint quite a picture with the diaper there on the dog. Is that so the poop doesn't get on the wheels of the wheelchair dog when it's trying to roll around? Why? I guess you just don't want the dog to let it fly anywhere. Is that the idea?
Yeah, I think so. It's based upon actual real dogs that I've seen in wheelchairs wearing diapers because maybe they've been hit by a car and their spine's broken and they can't control their bowel habits.
Right. All right. That makes sense. There's a happy thought. And then I think, okay, those PETA people that are crazy, I think they can do some good work, but I also think they're kind of crazy in a lot of ways. Yep. Maybe if they took some of their money and invested it in animal farms, that would be a good way to go. And maybe they do that anyway. Maybe it's just something I don't know about, but that's what comes to mind when we start talking about that kind of thing, you know?
Oh, totally. And I mean, it goes back to our long-running point on the show about the danger of extremists. You know, PETA let themselves down. They do some good work, but, you know, breaking into commercial farms and ruining people's livelihood and that kind of thing is really not okay.
Right.
I mean, I'm happy for them to campaign and bring awareness to the cruelty of the fur trade and help people make better choices. But doing crazy shit like sticking themselves to classic works of art, throwing paint on people, breaking into farms, trying to shame celebrities for carrying leather handbags. It's like, get a life, you bunch of loonies.
Yeah, when you started talking about the main example I was thinking of was the thing of throwing paint on people with fur coats. And it's like, all that does, it's one of those extreme groups that all it does is turn people off to your topic and your points, because it just makes you seem so crazy that they want to have nothing to do with you, and you're throwing the paint does no good. It just ruins somebody's jacket that has already been taken off an animal. And it doesn't make people that are rich and willing to wear one to begin with not want to get them in the future. It just pisses them off. They have the money. They're going to do it anyway if they can, you know?
Yeah, and I think about, late at night, I think back to, what about when we're cave people and stuff? I feel like some of the modern, I guess it's annoyances or things that people really want to make a big deal about couldn't exist in a younger human population. So it's all well and good to talk about how fur is bad, leather is bad, and all of that kind of stuff. But what about a time where we would use the whole animal? We would hunt to eat. Now, I'm not for hunting for sport. I think that is icky. But I could definitely make a case for, if you're gonna kill something, my expectation is that you're gonna eat it.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I don't believe in it. I think that it's cruel and that kind of stuff.
As the vegetarian, I can make the point that you don't need it at all. And at least I can be kind of mid-ground and say, okay, if there has to be hunting, yeah, at least eat the meat and don't do it just to do it and use all of it. And yeah, I kind of feel like we don't have to kill anything, but if you do, at least use what you kill, you know?
Yeah, totally agree.
All right. Well, we are just coming out of Halloween. That was, a week or two ago, a week and a half ago, something like that. I don't know. I'm bad with time.
Yeah, about a week and a half, yep.
So sometimes during Halloween, you just need to get your bone on. Here's a story about that.
In Grantsville, it's the talk of the town.
Have you guys seen the street sign skeleton thing around town?
Inside the Outpost restaurant, locals are buzzing about a certain Halloween display and the way it's blown up on social media.
We're going to go tip them when we leave. We know what it's like to work for tips.
I know. It all started days ago when Christopher Fugitian put up the skeleton pole dancer on the city sign. He says the only...
On the corner of these two streets, there's the pole of the street sign and a skeleton doing a pole dance and skeleton patrons sitting there in chairs, and they're throwing ones, and it's very funny. And
amazing.
The city didn't like it.
Backlash he received was caught on camera, a neighbor who kept coming over to cut it down.
Maybe a little risque for some people, but it's all in the name of fun.
Then the city posted the display to its Facebook page, telling him he had until 9 p.m. that night to remove it since it's against city code.
I think it brings a lot of good humor that we need to a small town.
The post took off, so while this skeleton was serving ones, others were serving their opinions in the comments section, writing things like, I guess teaching our children respect, decency, and manners has gone by the side.
Okay, first off, the person that wrote that, it should be by the wayside. You forgot a word, that's fine. But what do you care? What does anybody care? I go back to, is this hurting anybody? No, it's really not.
I mean, if they want to show more respect, they should really have the skeletons putting down 20s instead of 1s.
Make it rain.
Yeah, exactly. Let's make this shit rain. Let's really teach these kids some respect.
I guess teaching our kids the right thing has gone by the wayside. Well, you can do both. If there's fun dancing skeletons, doesn't prevent you from teaching your kids, right? You dip.
You dip.
The kids understand what that is. Maybe the problem's not the skeleton dancing on the pole. Maybe it's something else.
Fugitian moved the skeletons off city property and that night made the display even bigger.
So he took them away from where they were on public property and moved them right next to public property and made it bigger. And if you can't hear, is playing Motley Crue's Girls, Girls, Girls in the background.
Perfect. I love that so hard.
Yeah. Like, okay, you're not going to let me do it this way. I will do it in a different way, and it's going to be fun, and I'm not hurting anybody. Screw you.
What a legend. I love
adding
it.
lights, music, and more skeletons. Neighbors are even dropping off their own decorations to add to it.
We look forward to keeping this going and getting it a little bit more elaborate as we go.
All right. So there you go. The answer is, if it doesn't affect you, just leave it alone. I don't care. I'm the first one to go screw with my neighbors, as you know from the history of this show. But at least it's something that's affecting me. It's them having their dog bark all day long, and it makes me insane. And that's not something you can just walk away from. If it doesn't affect me, I don't care. Paint your house bright purple. I don't care. There's HOA laws, and I don't care about any of that. You paint your house any color you want. This is America. I don't care. It doesn't matter. If it doesn't affect me, I don't care. What are your thoughts on this? Do you constantly Gladys Kravitz and look out the window and see what your neighbors are doing?
No, but I'm painfully aware that there's a lady on my street who actually monitors me every time I leave my house.
Wow.
And I've got a story about that. But to answer your question, I'm totally on board with you. Live and let live. Yeah. Why not let the people who are enjoying it enjoy it? And if you're not enjoying it, don't look at it.
Mm-hmm. Nobody's requiring that you partake in this. It's a fun thing. It's not like it's going to be around forever. It's going away after Halloween. You know that. So just shut up and move on with your life.
Exactly. You know? It's 30 days of you maybe driving your kids the long way to school, whatever. But here's another thing that I read, and it was really similar to this. In fact, I thought this was going to be the story that you play. But skeletons are really popular around Halloween. And there was another family who put together a big, elaborate Halloween skeleton-type display in their front yard, featuring a variety of different vignettes. People, skeletons drinking, dancing, all sorts of stuff, fire pitting. But there was one skeleton that was giving birth to a zombie baby. Okay. Which for me, 10 points for creativity. I've personally never seen that. I've seen the skeletons in trees. I've seen the pole dancing skeleton. At this point, passe. But zombie birthing skeleton? Come on. It's a hit. But apparently one of their neighbors didn't like it. And she kept writing letters and complaining, but making it really personal. I could no longer walk past your house. My brother died when my mother was giving birth to him, and I'm still traumatized by it. This woman is 60 or 70 years old, and I'm still traumatized by it. I've been crying for days about your display. Can you please, just to be a good neighbor, can you please take it down? And so I've got two opinions on this. One, if it was me who had the zombie baby and somebody in my neighborhood made a heartfelt plea and said it was really offending them, I would probably take it down. But then on the other hand, I'm also like, are you all right, Gladys?
Yeah.
What the fuck? I don't know. What do you reckon?
I am leaning towards going with you on taking it down just to be a good neighbor. But then there's a part of me that always gets into the mode of, okay, that person needs to be taught a lesson. And that person needs to be shown that this doesn't affect them. And if it does affect them, they need to toughen up and move on with life and deal with it. So I would be very conflicted about doing that. Maybe I would do it anyway. And when I say do it, I mean take it down. I just like, oh my God, come on. And I thought you were going to tell me that the argument was, well, oh, the children, because the argument is always looking out for the children. I thought it was going to be my children were offended, and now I have to explain to my kids where the zombie babies come from, and I don't want to get into that. And it's always just such bullshit. Life is life, and you have to live through it, and sometimes you toughen up and you deal with stuff that makes you uncomfortable. It's the same conversation we've had over and over. That stuff that makes you uncomfortable benefits you in the long run, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Uncomfortability is where growth lives. Yeah. But I mean, this is coming from a woman who actively encourages her children to read banned books.
Yeah, you should. Who was it? LeVar Burton, I think, was quoted as saying that he wants people to read banned books. I saw a T-shirt that said, LeVar Burton reading Rainbow, read banned books. I think that was attributed to him, at least it was on a T-shirt. So, yeah, there's stuff in there that, even if you're not comfortable with it, might make you think and see other points of view and stuff, you know?
Exactly. If you go on Wikipedia and you look up banned books, because this was something that we did as a family. My eldest son came home from school. We went to a little library. He found a book called The Last Speech. I think a copy of it around here. And he was saying that at some point in time he thought that it was banned, blah, blah, blah. So we did a bit of research. And the hilarious list of books. There are some that are still banned in lots of different states and countries. Obviously, there's some that I can get behind. But the notable absence of some of the books that haven't been banned versus things like Harry Potter has been banned in some places before because of witchcraft. But then...
Devil's gonna get you if you read a Harry Potter book.
Right. It's just the mind boggles. But
to me, it's all freedom of speech. To me, it's you should be able to say anything that you want to say. And, there's the fire in a crowded movie house. You can't do that. Understood. But really, there should be no barriers on language. And as much as I like to see terrible people fail, I am very conflicted when somebody that's terrible loses a job because of something they said. And that's freedom of speech. And also, those books are freedom of speech. And there should be no barriers on them whatsoever. It's your responsibility as a human being to interpret what you want to interpret and use your own goddamn brain and figure things out for yourself, you know?
Absolutely agree. I can get behind the firing of people for stuff they say on the internet if it's an obvious display of a discrimination or a bias or something for somebody who's in a position where they have to make decisions about the livelihood of another person. You know, I want to, if I was working for or had someone working for me who was a terrible racist and then I found out about it on the internet because of something horrible they said, I'd definitely want to fire them. Because I would know that they would never do a good job because they wouldn't necessarily hire the best person for the job or something like that because they're full of hate and discrimination. So fuck them right off. But I'm with you. Outside of that, like political leanings or whatever, no matter how much I disagree with somebody's opinion, I will defend their right to it. Right. I think that's what you're saying too.
And something like that where it's something very racist and horrible, I understand it. I understand that the company fired that person because they don't want to have that identified with their company. And I go, okay. But then I also go, okay, there's another person losing their life because of something that came out of their mouth. And that just at its very basic understanding is a conflict for me. You know?
Yeah. I think there's a gray area in all of these things as well. And we often have knee-jerk reactions these days. I feel like people react before they ask a bunch of questions or really get into the nuances. This whole bite-sized news media cycle and summarizing and clickbait and everything, I feel like people's desire to get to the bottom of things and learn the truth and become educated to be able to have an informed conversation about something is really lacking. And so many people are walking around with less than half of the information. It's frightening to me.
Yeah, and it's just that blurb of what they saw on Facebook and hasn't been fact-checked. And even if it's totally wrong, it's generating clicks. So they're going to pretend that they're looking out for our interests and taking people off that are spewing bullshit when they're really not because it benefits their pocketbook. And there's that woman that worked for Facebook and said that they actively put crap out just because they know it works and it generates clicks. And that's the way they are, you know?
Absolutely. And I can't think of the specific examples right now because I'm having a bit of a brain fart, but think about the inquisition into Facebook where they were asking all around the COVID times, right? Where they were marking things as misinformation, even though there were opinions from doctors. And I feel like that is wrong because that's somebody's opinion,
Right.
and you shouldn't censor it. And then also, it's medical practice, not medical perfect. And so you can always find a variety of opinions. Why should they be censored? And even if I'm not a doctor, but that's cool. I don't have to agree with that doctor and I can do more research. But by deliberately restricting people's access to information, it just feels wrong.
Right.
And it just feels wrong.
It goes both ways. You brought up the COVID thing, and Joe Rogan is somebody that I'm very mixed on. I think he has some interesting people on sometimes, and I also think he can be a bit of a meathead. And when COVID was happening and he was going very anti-vax, I thought he was very much being a meathead, and then he got COVID, and he took my chloroquine or whatever it is. I don't remember the name of the drug right now. And people said, well, that's made for horses. And CNN went after him and said, he's now taking this thing for horses, and they totally did this hit piece on him. And I thought, okay, that's up to him if he wants to take that. I don't agree with that. I think he's been doing a disservice by being very anti-vax. But also CNN went after him and just did this smear piece and had lots of bullshit in this story that they put out about him. And he had the doctor from CNN on their show and called him out and said, no, CNN lied. They said this about me and this about me and this about me. And why did you as a doctor not defend what I did? Because I didn't take the version that was meant for horses. It was prescribed by a doctor. It's my right. And this was just them putting out a hit piece on me. So there's just so much gray area and so much crap on both sides in that. I'm just like, God, just be sane and think through your stuff, you know?
Yep, absolutely. But I think that's a really good example of where they didn't fact check it. They didn't check anything out.
Right.
You know, I think what we're talking about here is hydroxychloroquine.
Chloroquine, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's used for a number of things. Is it a horse medicine in that version of hydroxychloroquine? Yes, it is used to treat symptoms for arthritis, lupus, and stuff in horses. And another one that people were taking was ivermectin, which was it's a parasite thing. But I will tell you this as well. People might be surprised to know that a lot of human medicines actually get prescribed to animals and vice versa. This is another one of Emily's crazy stories. I mean, I can't make this shit up, but we've talked about my dog, the bad dog, the one that will attack people. She's got some mental health issues, okay?
Yeah.
That bitch is being described Prozac. No shit. And gabapentin and trazodone. So she has a variety of sedatives designed for humans that she takes. Then also, the other one got sick and the doctor's like, just give her some Benadryl or something. I was like, what now? And so it kind of, it's not, the lines are blurry out there, friends. I mean, be informed. Don't just start taking horse tranquilizers. Party boys, I'm talking to you. Like, don't go out there with the ketamine. Okay, drugs are bad. But ketamine is another example, right? It is now used to help people through major depressive episodes. Think about a lot of drugs that are kind of illegal. Some of them are used to, I know I'm going rather far afield now away from the animals, but again, it's medical practice, not medical perfect. Things like MDMA are used to treat people. And a lot of these drugs get used in animals and vice versa. Yeah. So, I mean,
and in that situation with him and CNN, I just felt like there is so much bullshit on both sides, and in some respects, both sides also have a point, and it's just be real and just be true, and don't take the side that Joe Rogan is the worst person in the world because he's decided to do this, but then also he's saying, oh, avoid the vaccines. You know, it's like, I just wish we could be sensible in society.
I think I wish that we could be sensible, and I wish we could stop being such judgmental assholes of other people. we may not agree with each other, but it's not up to us to judge the other person. If you want to make a judgment for yourself and your own family. You don't want to use, horse tranquilizers or, whatever. Cool, right there with you. Then make that choice for yourself. You could caution somebody that you love about, hey, I don't know if that's a great idea. But why are you going to judge them unnecessarily for it? It just feels like bad vibes.
Yeah.
Bad vibes.
So bringing it back around, because I wrote notes as we were going on with this, back to the skeleton story. If I was the guy that did the skeletons and people were upset about it, what I would do now is make one for Christmas. And I would have Santa sitting there getting a lap dance, and maybe it would be little tiny elves on the pole dancing in bikinis. I think that's a fun way to go. And somebody make a tape of this and get it to this guy. I said tape like I'm 800 years old. Somebody make a recording of this and send it to that guy, because I think him doing the Santa pole dancing thing now would be a great way to go. Like, if you're going to make a point, let's make a big point. Maybe we go pilgrims doing the pole dance, and then we do Santa and elves with pole dancing. Maybe that's a good way to go.
I wish I had more hands so I could give it more thumbs up.
All right.
Where can I see this? Beautiful installation. Can't wait. Somebody send us photos. Send photos into the show. I want to see all your most outrageous skeleton-themed Christmas decorations or holiday decorations.
I think this is in Utah, so I think it's maybe the religious people that are a little bit sensitive to it. That could be part of it too. So,
all signs point to yes.
Yeah.
I'm not a magic 8-ball, but definitely.
And then also, you breezed past this. I need to know about this woman that is spying on you and watching your every move. What is happening there?
Okay. So this is the story of how I got myself removed from the neighborhood group text. And then also about how I discovered that I'm being surveilled by my neighbor. I keep odd hours. I like to wake up very, very early in the morning when it's dark, and I will sometimes walk my dog under the cover of darkness just because that's the only opportunity that I get. We all know I have kids, I have a busy job. When I get time to go outside, often everyone else is inside. So I do that on the regular. Anyway, a few weeks ago, I happened to unusually walk my dog in the middle of the day. And whilst I was doing so, my neighbour came rushing out of her house to engage me in a conversation, which I thought was quite sweet. So we had a lot of back and forth. It was lovely to chat to her. We caught up and everything. And she accidentally let slip that she hasn't seen me leave my house in months. And then
because she's keeping track.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, well, I mean, what else have you noticed? And then she started telling me about who my children have been playing with, that my husband's out doing these sorts of things and that all of that kind of stuff. And it was sweet, and she was making conversation and everything. But then I realized she's also saying things like, well, the light to your office is on very late at night and things like this. Yeah. So anyway, so that's a whole vibe. It doesn't bother me so much. Just at the time, I thought it was really, really funny. And she was happy to tell me all of these things, like I was okay with this, that this wouldn't freak me out or I wouldn't find it weird at all, because I guess it's just what people do. So I thought that was really interesting. And part of the reason why I haven't engaged with her for a while is during summer, we get a lot of college kids that do door-to-door sales for things like pest control companies, window companies. Anyway, they hire a whole bunch of college kids and they go door to door and they try to get people to sign up, magazine subscriptions, anything, you name it, whatever, gardening. We had this kid come to the door, and I remember his name still. His name was Marvin. Cool name, right? He happened to be African American. Anyway, Marvin came round. He tried to lure me away from my pest control company. I love my pest control company. Love you, Todd. We're never changing. Don't worry. I set him straight, gave him a bottle of water, wished him luck, sent him away. Anyway, a group text came out at about 8 o'clock at night. And in summer, as you know, it's still light in the south at around about that time. So this kid's walking around. And the surveillance neighbor was sending out a message to all of the ladies on the street warning us about a man that she saw walking around in a purple shirt. And so, of course, I think that I'm being a good neighbor. And I just chime in. I go, don't worry, he's cool. His name's Marvin. I spoke to him. He's just a young college guy. He's selling pest control services. If you need it, hit him up. I don't think we need to call the police.
Right.
Well, apparently I'm an asshole. And so then the response was, I'm just trying to keep our neighborhood safe. I really think this is a concern, and blah, 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 blah. And anyway, I was taken off the neighborhood watch thing, obviously, because I'm not down for racially profiling 17-year-old boys, and I don't really feel like having a kid shot on my street whilst trying to earn a living during summer by calling the police.
Well, Emily, you have to understand you walk your dog at inappropriate times, so you can't be on any of those texts if you're telling people that the black kid is okay. You know, you just can't be a part of that anymore. We can't have you spouting your rationalism.
Yeah, exactly. It's outrageous. How very dare I? And again, this is kind of naive of me as well. No secret. I'm foreign, okay? And so I have been continually surprised by the racism that exists around where I live. And it pops up its ugly head in lots of different and interesting ways. And I am constantly surprised, and in the most insane places too. I mean, next door, I know you love a good next door situation, but that I had to get off that because it was between the, can somebody help me identify this snake that's all the posts in summer. What's this snake? What's this snake? And then just blatantly racist posts about.
Yeah, as you were telling that story, I'm like, well, before you even got to the end, I was like, well, the issue is obviously that it's a black kid, and that is their key problem. He's suspicious because of that. Guaranteed that would not have been an issue if it were a wholesome white boy, you know?
Exactly. He was just caught WWB.
Yeah.
Working while black.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just terrible, shitty people that probably in their own mind are not terrible, shitty people. They would never admit to being racist or hating black people, but in their mind, it's, well, they're very out of place and they don't belong here. So we've got to watch out for that sort of thing. You know, just shut up. Just be real. Just be nice.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So I think we can fit this in really quick. It's timely.
That's what she said. I mean, what?
Haven't had one of those for a while. Good one. So names and words are ridiculous. And you sent me a thing on sports names, and I like that. We're going to play that. But I think the inspiration of that comes from Key and Peele, who did the substitute teacher bit with Aaron and D-Nice. Because I will play you. They did a bunch of these that are fake college football reports. So I'll play you one of these, and then we'll play your thing that is equally great. But this is Key and Peele from their sketch show many years ago on Comedy Central.
I'm Dave Sasson, alongside Jeff Worthing, and welcome to the 2013 East-West Bowl, where we're going to be watching some of the best college athletes in the nation try to put last year's spectacle to shame.
That's right, Dave. It won't be easy, but this year's seniors certainly will be trying to give last year's stars a run for their money. Let's check out the team, starting with the players from the East.
Cosnesta Smith, Rutgers University. Ellipses Quarter, University of Alabama. Naquilis Dilwad, LSU.
Bismo Funyuns, Florida State University.
Decathlon Mango, Georgia Tech University. Murgatroyd Skittle, University of Louisville. Quizletron Business, University of Tennessee.
And you should know that as these go by, it's all Key and Peele dressed up as different characters with wild hair and bandanas and all kinds of different things going on.
DePage Poopshare. Ole Miss. Quackadilly Blip. Auburn University. Julius Boozler. The U. Miskatine Trisket. University of Michigan. Fall Trail Cluggins. University of Arkansas. Blarone. Washington. Syracuse. Cartoons, plural. Virginia Tech.
Cartoons, plural.
Jammy. The Ohio State University. Fudge.
But just get the West
Some
here.
of the big stories this year. The meteoric rise of DePez Poopsie. And let's not forget about Heisman winner, Jammy.
And remember, you can't talk about 2013 without bringing up Fudge. Everybody's talking about Fudge. At 350 pounds, this running back is almost unstoppable the whole year.
You're right. I could talk about Fudge all day. But first, let's meet the players from the West.
Equine Ducklings. Indiana University, Purdue University, Indianapolis. Da Historius, La Mistorius. Utah State University.
Ewaconiad Sigornith Junior Steam. Oklahoma State University.
Exquisite Team Buble Schwinslow, University of Nebraska. Hukalakanaka, Hakanaka Hikaluka Hukahakafaka, University of Hawaii. King Prince Chambermaid, Baylor University.
The Danifer Jadaniston. University of Colorado.
La da 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 la da 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 da. Da la da da la da la da da da. University of Arizona.
Harvard University. DeVry University.
His name is Morse code.
Army. Navy Surplus Store.
Wingdings. Online classes.
First name, last name. College University.
His face is blurred out.
Homeschool. Squeeze. Santa Monica College.
Benedict Cumberbatch. Oxford University.
A.A. Ron Balake.
A.A. Ron.
Morehouse College.
So there you go. That's the East and the West 1 year. They did a bunch of those year after year, and there's like a 10-minute thing you can find online. But then there's the real story. We'll play this that you sent me from the Talk Tick, I think.
It's time to play America's favorite game called Is This a Name I Made Up Just Right Now? Or is this a 2023 college football player? Charming DeRosier or General Booty? General Booty reporting for duty. Mountain Drew Stevens or Kool-Aid McKinstry? Oh yeah. Cavoisier Smoke or Roro Larudo? They don't want that smoke. Alex Parsons or Memorable Factor? Rememberable my name. The lightning round. Are these names real or fake? DeColdis Crawford, Pig Cage.
That sounds like something out of the bit.
Pig Cage is an actual name.
I'll back
Pig
that up a little bit. Because that sounds like it's from Key and Peele. Oh my God.
Pig Cage. Fat Watts. Mobility.
Oh God.
All of those are people's names.
Yeah. These are kids that are playing college football. And they have these names. And it's almost like if you're given that name, you have to grow up to play college football, I guess is what it is. There's something in the name. Yeah. Like all Heathers are hot. That's what I've come down to.
Yeah, or be murdered in the playground when you're a child because it's the boy named Sue. I love this next one. This is one of my favorites.
Tiffany's are hot. If your name is Kip, I think you'll grow up to be kind of a sporty guy. Okay, here we go. Oh, God.
Okay. Storm Duck, Fish McWilliam, Squirrel White, Tiger Shanks. How many did you get?
Shanks.
Storm Duck got me, and Fat Watts. I'll never be the same.
So if you want a college football player, you know what you got to do when you have a kid. It's that.
I have a name for you.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a visual joke, but I'm going to spell it out for you, and I want you to tell me how you would pronounce this.
Oh, one of these.
Name.
Nice.
The other thing, too, is I can put it in our backstage chat.
I won't see that.
You won't?
No, I have you segmented to a certain window. I have the outline, and then I have you in your own side window. I won't see that.
I mean, it is best to keep me away from others.
It's focused on you. It's because you're so special. It's focused on you. There you go.
That's a way to spin it. Okay, so the spelling of this little girl's name is K, capital V, capital I, capital I, capital I, little L, Y, N.
Okay. I had a pad of paper here. I wrote it down, and I would have to say Pavilion?
Close. What if I told you that the V and the 3 I's were Roman numerals for 8?
Oh, my God, no.
Yes.
I see it in front of me. Those at home, back it up and follow along if you want, because it will jump out at you. Caitlin?
Correct. Let the hate flow through you, Stu.
What the hell? Why would you do that? Somebody named her that.
Yep. And they were so proud.
I think probably that is going to produce a stripper, because I think Caitlin is kind of a stripper's name. And I think if you make it that weird, she's going to grow up to be a stripper. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, I think there's something to a name.
There's definitely something to a name, and there have been lots of studies around it. There is a book series, highly recommend it for anybody who's listening along, called Super Freakonomics. And I can't...
She's super freaky, yow.
She's super freaky, yow. And it talks about amazing things that have happened in our economy. And there have been a lot of studies on what's in a name and how what you name your child can really impact on their career outcomes or on their outcomes later in life. Now, I can't remember all of the stats and everything, but for anyone who's interested in it, you should definitely check it out. Let's talk about stripper names, though, because I feel like that's wholesome content. So you've gone out on a limb and said you think that Caitlin's kind of a stripper name?
It leans that way. Not as much as like a Cammy. Cammy, total stripper's name. Tiffany, Heather's usually... Heather can be more mainstream too, but Heather leans that way. Candy, that's almost a nickname. Yeah.
I'm definitely joining you on Candy. And I also feel like any of the virtues, charity, chastity, destiny, I feel like all of these, that thing definitely leans stripper for me.
I hear any of those names and I think they're fake. I think they're names that somebody just took because they fit that so well.
Verity.
We have enlightened in so many ways here today, and I'd love to stay and talk more, but God, I have to pee so bad. I really do. Well then,
you better take care of that. Speaking from experience, you don't want to get a UTI that might turn into a kidney infection.
Turn into a dental thing too.
I'm so full of shit, it's coming out our mouths. Yeah, what?
Got a comment? Question? Go ahead, contact us. Our email is show@totalbabble.com. Instagram, Total Babble, or Facebook.com/Total Babble. The Total Babble Podcast.